answer lies in the heart of battle, or in this video game review. This is Mark Rodriguez, and you're watching another episode of the Video Game Masters, and today we're going to talk about the very first Street Fighter Alpha. Since we're going to be using the PlayStation 2 for this review, I might as well throw out this story. Yes, these slim models had problems with overheating back when they first came out. In fact, there were reports or rumors of someone's rug catching on fire because they were playing their system too long on the carpeting. So back then, Johnny and I were doing our very first playthrough of Final Fight, and we were doing it the old-fashioned way, having the video camera directly recording the TV, and we forgot, so we had the PS2 on top of our VCR the whole time, and yes, we still had a VCR back in 2010. So after the playthrough and all that stuff, the VCR was fried and never worked again, and of course it was 2010, so it's kind of hard to find another VCR. So nowadays, whenever I do a PlayStation 2 review, or I'm just in the mood to play some King of Fighter games or whatever, I always have this big box, or like maybe a pile of fat heavy books or something in between of the PlayStation 2 and our DVD recorder, so that that one doesn't get fried. Street Fighter 2 rocked the arcades in 1991 and started the entire fighting game craze. It was so hot we just wanted more. We started off with Street Fighter 2 The World Warrior, Hadouken! And then we got Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition, Hadouken! And then we got Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Hadouken! And then we got Super Street Fighter 2 The New Challengers, and then we got Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. While the fans of the arcades are very happy with all of this, the big question still remained, when was Capcom finally going to make a Street Fighter 3 with all new graphics? While Street Fighter 3 did eventually come out, as well as Part 4 and Part 5, that was still several years away. Capcom would release a brand new fighting game called Darkstalkers in 1994 with a brighter, more cartoonish art style when compared to Street Fighter 2. Later on, they would also release X-Men Children of the Atom with a similar art style, which continued to prove that Capcom could make some great fighting games and create new series and characters, but what about Street Fighter? In 1995, Capcom started working on a new Street Fighter game, which was originally going to be called Street Fighter Legends. Instead of a sequel, this would actually be a prequel with younger versions of Ryu and Ken and some of the classic characters from the first Street Fighter game making a comeback. The final version was called Street Fighter Zero in Japan and Street Fighter Alpha Warriors Dreams in America. It was finally an all-new game with the similar cartoonish graphics seen in Darkstalkers and X-Men. Round 1, fight! The game had 10 characters to choose from. Ryu, Ken, Chun-Li, and Sagat all returned from Street Fighter 2 with some new designs, and Birdie and Adon returned from the original Street Fighter. Guy and Sodam are also in the game, making it the first time the Final Fight characters would cross over into the Street Fighter series. Charlie, who was Guile's best friend that was killed by Bison in Street Fighter 2's storyline, finally makes an appearance. And then we have Rose, an all-new character who uses Soul Power, which is the good version of Bison's Psycho Power. The game has 3 extra hidden characters. Bison returns as a boss character for several of the fighters, and is oddly enough a hidden character this time. Akuma makes his long-awaited return. And the third character is Dan, who is a parody of SNK characters. This is a joke since Capcom felt that Ryo and Robert from Art of Fighting were way too similar to Ryu and Ken, so they gave Dan similar moves and poses, as you can see here. You win! Yeah! Gameplay-wise, the gameplay is pretty much like Street Fighter 2, but with several differences. The characters now have chain combos similar to the Darkstalkers games, and they also can block attacks in midair. You now get a 3-level super combo meter that fills up as you attack your opponents. Every character now has 2 or 3 super combos compared to only 1 in Super Turbo, and they have 3 levels of power. You can do a level 1 super combo by pressing 1 button or kick button, a level 2 super combo by pressing 2 punches or kick buttons at the same time, and a level 3 super combo by pressing all 3 punches or all 3 kick buttons. You also have alpha counters that can block and counter an attack at the cost of one of your super combo levels. Like previously mentioned, Bison is the last boss of some of the characters, but other characters have different bosses. For example, Sagat's final boss is Ryu, as he planned to finally settle the score. One thing worth mentioning was that the Alpha games took several cues from the Street Fighter II animated movie. Ah, gotta love that animated classic. This game would base the larger, more muscular designs of Sagat and Bison on the movie designs, as well as Bison's winning smile. The sequel, Alpha 2, will add a lot more elements from the movie, but we'll discuss those when we cover that. The game endings also add extra details, like Chun-Li first discovering that Bison killed her father, and Ken meeting his future wife Eliza for the very first time. And well, we all know what's gonna happen to Charlie, don't we? Well, it does seem he got better, though. Sort of. It's also worth noting that Street Fighter V, the anime series, also had a design for Charlie Nash, which looks very different because at the time Alpha didn't exist yet. And let's not forget the hidden dramatic battle mode in which two players can play as Ryu and Ken and fight against Bison at the same time, similar to the final battle in the Street Fighter II animated movie. While in the original arcade it was only Ryu and Ken, in later home versions you could choose any character you wanted. Street Fighter Alpha was also available on the original PlayStation, the Sega Saturn, and some other consoles, but oddly enough, also the Game Boy Color. Man, I would love to have seen that one. How would I pull that one off? Anyways, all the Alpha games were released on Street Fighter Alpha Anthology for the PlayStation 2.
Alright guys, so now it's time for my review on Street Fighter Alpha. And yes, I know there are 2 sequels out there, but I'm trying to keep it just on this one game and try to make it as fair and as unbiased as possible. Now, I didn't play in the arcades all that too often, and I didn't have it at home. I didn't play it regularly until we had Street Fighter Alpha Anthology for the PlayStation 2, but of course the sequels were already out there at that time, but we're going to ignore that. Street Fighter Alpha was awesome based on the simple fact that it existed. It was finally a brand new game. It wasn't another super duper mega supreme whatever Street Fighter 2 that maybe there's a hidden character and maybe Chun-Li throws 2 fireballs instead of 1 or whatever. No, this was a brand new game with brand new graphics, new characters, redesigned old characters, new stages, new music, new ending, new basic storyline. The game takes place in a whole entire different time era from the classic Street Fighter 2 games. This was so awesome. And yeah, it was a big surprise to get Final Fight characters in this game. It was awesome to have Street Fighter 1 people like Birdie and Adon that would have probably been forgotten if they hadn't made their comeback here. And it was awesome to even have Rose, which is a completely brand new different character. I mean, she can actually deflect fireballs. No one in Street Fighter at that time had the ability to bounce your fireball back at you. And the gameplay was pretty cool too. You have air blocks, you have more than one super combo, and the combo system plays close enough that if you play Street Fighter 2 to death, you can just jump into this one and just play it. It's pretty awesome. However, the game does have 2 major complaints. The first one being the speed. Street Fighter Alpha just isn't as fast as Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and back in the day, a lot of the fans were very upset about this. And I kind of understand. When Super Street Fighter 2 first came out, everybody was upset that it wasn't as fast as Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Then Super Turbo comes out, fixes the problem, and now Alpha slows things down again. But honestly speaking, I don't really see it as being that slow as the game itself. It does have a turbo on and a turbo off feature, but even playing on turbo off, which is I guess the game's normal speed, it doesn't really feel all that slow, and it feels as fast as the other games at the time, like Darkstalkers, X-Men Children of the Atom, and Real About Fatal Fury. So I don't really see the complaint. Yes, it is slower than Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, but that game is like insanely fast. And I don't really remember that many fighting games back then that were as fast or faster than Super Turbo, because that would have just been excessive. The other major complaint is a severe lack of characters. This game only has 10 characters compared to Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo's 16 characters, 17 if you count Akuma, and of the familiar faces you only get Ryu, Ken, Chun-Li, and Sagat because Bison isn't selectable. And that's kind of weird. Like, yeah, you can still do a up, down, left, right, whatever code to unlock them, but it is kind of weird that considering that Bison was selectable in all the other Street Fighter games except for the World Warrior, it is weird that all of a sudden he's a hidden character. Now, Akuma has been a hidden character at these times before he became more known later on, but Bison, that was just kind of weird. Now, I don't know what they could have done for more characters because this game does take place storyline-wise either instead of or after Street Fighter 1 but before Street Fighter 2, so I guess it kind of makes sense that you wouldn't see Blanca, Honda, Vega, Cammy, and all them because maybe they weren't Street Fighters yet at this particular point in time. But I don't know, they could have added maybe more original characters, more Street Fighter 1 guys to kind of keep it more of a Street Fighter Alpha feel. I mean, technically speaking, we only get just Birdie add-on and Ryu with the white headband from Street Fighter 1. Like, we could have used more Street Fighter 1 guys to really nail that point home. And when you really take a look at it too, Rose is the only all-new character in the game, unless you count Dan, who's another Ryu and Ken SNK parody joke character. But yeah, so they could have added more characters and stuff like that. Now, the sequels would of course fix this with more speed and more characters, and Street Fighter Alpha 3 would just basically just throw in everybody. It's like, forget about the sequel, prequel, if it doesn't make sense, whatever, just throw the whole cast in there, and that's basically what they did. But at least for Alpha, they did keep it kind of serious. But yeah, I still wish it had more characters, and it could have been a bit faster. Other than that, Street Fighter Alpha was still a fun game at the time. Like I said, it was a bit lacking, but it did show that Capcom was finally going in the right direction with Street Fighter 2. It finally meant that yes, you were going to get new Street Fighter games, even if Alpha did have a sequel or two. At least it's a sequel to Alpha and not Street Fighter 2. You will not be getting any more Street Fighter 2 sequels until 2017 when we got Ultra Street Fighter 2, the final challengers for the Nintendo Switch. But other than that, at that time, no more Street Fighter 2 games. It was time for Alpha. It was time for a brand new road to be paved in the world of Street Fighter. So anyways guys, this is Mark Rodriguez here, and thanks for watching, and see y'all next time.
I'm Sweet Pete. I'm Sweet Pete.
2 minutes, Pete!
Oh yeah, I'll be out in a minute. Sweet Pete.
Okay guys, the Video Game Masters, episode 69 in 3, 2, 1.
Hi guys, I'm Mark Rodriguez. I'm Johnny Rodriguez.
I'm Sweet Pete.
Oh, ha ha, Angel, now it shows in black and white.
I don't understand. The camera's working fine. Why is everything in black and white?
It's just Angel ruining the show again.
Cut the camera.
Alright, Video Game Masters, episode 69, take 2 in 3, 2, 1.
Hi guys, I'm Mark Rodriguez.
I'm Johnny Rodriguez.
I'm Sweet Pete.
Oh, come on! Hey, what's with the purple bar? Hey, it's never been that bad to the point that it covers half the screen. Come on now.
Angel!
Cut the camera! Man, we did this so many times, you have to change your clothes and everything. Hey guys, I'm Mark Rodriguez.
I'm Johnny Rodriguez.
And I'm Sweet Pete. And today we're going to talk about...
Wait, I didn't hear that last line from Rocky Armas. Rocky Armas, can you say that part again?
This is Rocky Armas, and you're watching the Video Game Masters. Ha 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 ha!
Now cut that out! I'm sick and tired of your barstool shenanigans!
I'm sick and tired of your bothersome shenanigans.
What the hell?
What the hell?
What the freak, Angel?
What the freak, Angel?
Stop!
Stop.
You... What? That does it! This episode's canceled!
No, what do you mean the episode's canceled?
We can't keep going. Angel keeps interrupting our show all the time. This episode's over.
Dude, we got a game to review still.
I don't care. I'm sick of Angel and I'm sick of this. I'm out of here. Shit. Group meeting now!